10. But
Yeah, I
it's
get
nice
it.
to actually meet you. I don't know. Have you shown up to any of my calls specifically yet, or
I tried.
okay?
So
So
I
not
think
yet. I was like, I don't recognize.
no, I tried one time and it was just hectic with my kids. And I was like, you know what? Like, I can't do this. Let me just watch the recordings. And after you do them, I watch them. Like, I think I watched all of your recordings.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot. I'm hopefully they're actually helping. But yeah, I mean, what I wanted to do is I want to just kind of get to know you first. So like, what are you trying to do? Like, where are you located, first of all?
I'm located in San Antonio, Texas, and I'm
Oh, cool.
trying to do flips.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So you want to flip in Texas? Have you? I think you told me you haven't done your first one right yet, right?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
No,
Have you
brand
started
new.
looking?
I have, and I think that's where I'm kind of like stuck. I don't know like
Hmm.
what a good deal looks like. I've been trying to have like MLS access, have been stuck with that. But I mean, I'm doing the steps in the program, so I'm getting there.
Sweet, sweet. I mean, is there anything like on top of your mind right now? Like questions you're just like, I need to figure this stuff out right now. Like, what's on your mind right now?
I feel like I don't know what I should be doing right now. Like I
Hmm.
did all like the LLC, I did the business account, I went through all those steps. I reached out to realtors, constructions. Like I'm going through all of that. The next thing that was in mind for me was just getting like funding, but early on my husband and I decided that we were going to do like take out a HELOC, and we started that I think week 1, and it's just been a process. We signed on the HELOC I think a week ago, and I didn't request like funds in advance, which I should have, but I didn't. So now I'm waiting for everything to process. And I'm like, okay, well, what next? Like, do I start looking for deals? I reached out to wholesalers too. So I figured out my marketing strategy was going to be wholesalers and MLS, but I'm stuck with MLS. Like, I'm not getting anywhere. I got PropStream. I just don't know if that's the same. Like how does it
Yeah, but
compare to MLS?
so PropStream pulls the data from MLS, so it's like very, very similar. MLS probably has like slightly more updated, up to date stuff, but it's like you won't notice.
Okay, and that's what I'm like. I'm struggling with. I'm like, what do I do next? Should I like start making offers? Do I not? What what do I do?
Yeah. So you said you already started looking on the MLS. Like, what do you mean by looking? Like, have you started and crunching the numbers and offering, or like just crunching?
No,
Okay.
just crunching, just trying to figure out, like just going in there, looking at properties that are listed,
Hmm.
looking at like distressed properties and seeing how the numbers run. Like, does it make sense? Just trying to learn how to comp, really. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. No, that's. I mean, you're actually that's the exact path that is helpful to be on. Like, it'll really serve you. You did all the setup with like your LLC, your business account. You started reaching out to realtors and your team, and now it's like you. The two main things now is just learning how to crunch the numbers, and then once you're confident enough with the numbers, where you're like, I'm confident putting my money where my mouth is, saying if I offer this, I think I can make money. Like,
Okay.
once you get to that point, you start making those offers. You might even be there already. Like, how confident are
I'm
you with?
not.
Okay, that's
I'm
okay.
not there yet. The other thing I'm struggling is like the rehab cost. And I
Mm,
know when I look at like the videos, they say, look, reach out to your investors, local investors. I'm like, I'm
mhm.
trying. Um, so I've been, and I've also been like trying to do social media a lot because I'm like, I feel like I'm at a standstill with like when I was at the LLC standstill, I'm like, all right, well, I need to do something. That's when I jumped like on social media and just trying to connect with the local investors and trying to see like what those numbers look like. But I haven't actually like met anybody in person where I can be
Mhm.
like, can you teach me how to, what does construction
Yeah.
costs really look like? Yeah.
You said San Antonio. I think we got a guy there. I think it's Sergio Garcia. You know him?
Mm-hmm. I
I think he's a
do.
wealthy investor, friend of mine. I think he's San Antonio, and I'm pretty sure he flips. So have you tried him at all?
I haven't. No, I do know him. I think I reached out to him when I had first like started. I
Yeah.
think he did say I'm in San Antonio, but that was like as far as it went. I do know a wholesaler, and I connected with him. Like we did a Zoom, and he's like, whenever you're ready, just hit me up. And I'm just like, am I ready yet?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, because right now it looks like your main goal is really trying to understand the numbers, like how
Yeah.
they work, and you can't unless you understand the rehab portion.
Mhm.
And you will never like fully understand. Like it'll take a while. It doesn't matter. It's like as long as you can be in the same ballpark of what's accurate. So you just don't want to be able to see a home and be like, oh yeah, this is 30K rehab when it's 200K like that.
Yeah.
We don't want to be there. So I'd reach out to the wholesaler. We have the directory for the students. You can reach out to anyone San Antonio. I don't know how different San Antonio is compared to like Austin or
Mhm.
the other areas in Texas, but there's a lot of Texas people. I know that. Um, so I'd reach out there in school and like just try to text them, call them, maybe at the same time, let them know you're a wealthy investor, you're a rookie, and all you need is just an understanding of how the rehab costs work because you're not really sure how to estimate. Because that's the hard part. I
Mhm.
think the ARVs are pretty self-explanatory. It's just practice, and you
Yeah.
just do it over and over till you get confident. But the rehab is like it's big art. It's like, oh, I think it's around this kind of rehab.
Yeah.
Um, I would for sure start there, or if you have any local meetups to go to, that'd be good.
Okay. I did meet like because I also did like the Bigger Pockets forum thing, and I
Hmm.
reached out to people there, and somebody did offer. He's like, I can walk the property with you because I don't want you to get like scammed or whatever.
Hmm.
He's like, just tell me the address, and I was like, I don't have an address. Like I don't have a property yet, so that's where I'm stuck. Like, do I jump in without knowing what the rehab costs look like? Do I jump in without having like the money, without like the down money? Like, or do I just wait for
Um,
everything?
well, I think the first thing, like your first step is probably right now, your next step is probably just to really try to connect to anyone who's
Okay.
actually flipping in your area, or even wholesalers who have a good understanding of what the rehabs might be and how they're estimating before they make their offer. That's huge.
Okay.
So just reaching out to those people, like that's priority. And then from there, like you don't have to jump right into it. You don't have to make offers until you're confident that you can back it up. Like
Mm-hmm.
I that's what I believe. A lot of people are like, "No, start making offers." Yeah, but then a lot of people back out because they're like, "No, I was way too high." I think have an understanding. You don't have to be perfect at crunching the numbers, but have an understanding. Um, and then from there, it's just selecting your marketing strategy and sticking to it. And you already have an idea. You said you started the MLS. Is that something you think you'd continue as a marketing strategy mainly, or are you wanting to do something else?
I want to reach out to maybe realtors and wholesalers. I have reached out to some wholesalers in like the Facebook groups. Um, and someone sent me like a list yesterday, actually. But then I was
Mhm.
like, I don't feel comfortable in the numbers yet. I think that's my biggest issue. Like, I was like, is this a good deal? Is it a not? And then when I see properties on the MLS that have been there for like 15 days, I was like, well, why isn't anybody grabbing this? Like, if it was a good deal, it would probably already be gone.
Well, on the MLS specifically, here's my like feedback is on the MLS you'll get deals. Sorry, you'll get deals. Sorry, there's a call. Like one of two ways. It's either immediately where like it's new on the market and like you're pushing the realtor and they're like, no, I'll write the offer tomorrow. Like, no, like I know how these go. When they're new, they're gonna get swept up. So it's either fast, but
Mhm.
most of the time it's gonna be like a long game where you're following up multiple months. And maybe your initial offer is rejected, maybe there's multiple other offers and your last resort. And that's how my MLS deals were found. They said no. And I said, hey, no worries. I'm just going to check in with you. And so every month I check in because I knew there's a lot of competition and multiple buyers would back out. And I'd still be checking in. And they'd finally come back and say, hey, you've been checking in for like 8 months. Your offer's still good. Like that's how it worked on the MLS. There's like two ways. It's hard to find like in
Mhm.
between. Um, so you have an idea on that and you're reaching out to realtors, which I think is a great way. So yeah, it's really getting comfortable with the numbers. And then once you're comfortable with that, yeah, you can start your marketing pretty comfortably. Like there's not like much else. I guess the financing too, just having an idea of how would you finance the flips.
Well, that's where I think the HELOC comes into place. We already have everything, and then I don't know. Wait, is that like good enough? Like having that money there?
Yeah, I mean, I think the HELOC's great because you'll have something to have access to.
Yeah.
And not just the down payment, but like, have you gotten pre-approved with hard money at all?
Mm. Okay, so I went to talk to an invest, I don't know what is it called, Longhorn Investments here was locally, and they
Okay.
said they needed 25. I wanted to get pre-approval. They said they needed to see 25K in my account plus like two statements, and I was like, okay. So then again, I felt like, okay, I'm stuck again because I'm still waiting for like that HELOC to come through. And I actually talked to Kiavi this morning, and he walked me through everything online. And I know some people had said that they were having trouble getting a pre-approval letter for him from
Mhm.
them. And I went straight up and be like, hey, I'm in the wealthy investor. I hear that some people are having trouble, but I need this to make offers. Like, what can you help me? And he's like, oh yeah, like let's walk through it. And once we walk through it, I'm like, okay, here's it's asking me for an address. He's like, just put TBD. And I was like, okay, good. Let me put TBD, put my market, the zip code, and then he's like, all right, just put in like numbers. And then I got the offer, the pre-qualification letter.
Oh, perfect. So you have
Yeah.
like one that's like set to a specific amount or below.
Yes.
Like that. No, you're good. So I'm glad you have that. And if it's with the Kiavi, like you don't even necessarily have to have all your down payment money ready right now, because you could always end up raising it. Does that scare you? Just like the thought of
It
raising?
does, yeah.
No, it is scary. It is. Um, but I promise you, it's a lot easier than you think. It is riskier, and you take on a lot more risk. So, but it is helpful. So I think, yeah, now that you have the pre-approval, it's really just a matter of getting comfortable with the numbers. And once you are, like, then you can go running. Like you can just go all in on whether you want to be the one to call all the listing agents, all the realtors, or maybe some people have even bought list of realtors. Like I think a buddy of mine bought a list of like 5,000 realtors in his area,
Where do
and he
you
just,
buy those? Because I was watching one of Ray's videos, and he just said he pulled those from a realtor list from the MLS. And I said, well, I don't have access to the MLS. How else would I get a realtor list?
I mean, you can ask a realtor, or I feel like I know there's sites out there. I don't know the exact ones because that's never
Okay.
been one of my main strategies. If I did reach out to realtors, it was usually because I was reaching out about listings and then developing the relationship further. I never pulled a list of like a massive amount of realtors and just cold called them. But a lot of my friends have had success with like either text blasting those lists and like following up multiple times, and they'd start sending deals. And they're pocket listings. So they're homes that they found, and before listing it, actually listing it on market, they'd call you or the investor and say, hey, like I think this one would work. It's not on market yet, but they don't really care if they get highest dollar. That's what you go for. Um, so those like it seems to be like those your main options, and wholesalers you said,
Hmm.
and it's cool because that's the free stuff. Like it seems like you want to attack the free stuff.
I do, yeah. I feel like for me, it's just getting over that first one. That's the most important. And I think that'll play a big part of knowing, like, believing in myself that I can do it, like proving myself that I can do it. And then I feel that once I do that first one, I'll feel more comfortable like raising money. Once I'm like,
Hmm.
hey, I did it, like, give me your money and then I can invest it. But
Yeah,
I don't feel confident myself yet. Maybe
yeah.
that's like a me issue too, um, to have people's money and just lose it.
No, I get that completely. That's exactly how I was. Like I used my own money and hard money for a couple years, several years, and then I was like, okay, like I haven't lost money, so like I think I can
Mhm.
raise money like from other people now. Um, yeah, no, I think you're set. What's okay? What do you think of doing now in terms of like what's your current plan of action of what's your next step to
Mm,
get your deal?
I think it's connecting with the local wholesaler that's also in the Wealthy Investor Program. I
Hmm.
had already spoken to him, and he just said, let me know when you're ready. And maybe just starting there and seeing if he knows about rehab costs. I don't know how involved wholesalers are in that area, like knowing rehabs, but maybe that would be like a good step. Or if you can just even send me some like properties that I can start crunching the numbers for, because I need practice with that. Um, I don't know what else. I want to still get MLS access. I just haven't been successful with that.
Yeah, I mean, do you have any friends that are realtors?
I do, and like the first week I started Wealthy Investor, I reached out to her. I said, hey, let's meet. She agreed to give me MLS access. And I said, okay, I'll reach out to you once I'm ready. But once I was ready, she said, no, I talked to my broker. And it's just a big liability with my license. And I was like, dang it. Okay, what do I do?
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, that was the goal for her to not talk to her broker because they're not supposed to share their access. Like, their
Mm,
realtors aren't supposed to share access with anyone else. But when you approach the next one, if that's how you want to get MLS access, if you don't want to become a realtor yourself, um, you can just let them know, hey, like, um, I'd love to have MLS access, and if I'm looking to buy houses, if I ever find something using your MLS access, because that's what I'll be looking on, I'd happily have you represent me. And hopefully, it's someone that you generally trust, even if it's a little bit.
yeah,
But that would be the best way because they're not. And you can even let them know up front, like, hey, like I know you're not supposed to do this, so like don't tell your broker. And like that might be a good
I
thing to
should have
even
done
say.
it. Yeah, because she
Um,
even told me, like, I trust you. And I was like, okay, like, I stopped my search there. Like, I was like, okay, I
yeah,
got this. And then she's like, no. And I was like, okay, I get it. But then I just felt like we were friends and there was like that relationship.
yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, too, if you have the thing you need MLS access for is really just for comping,
Mhm.
and you can comp pretty well on a Redfin, a Zillow, or PropStream, and other things out there. So it does help to have like most up to date data, but I don't want that to like stop you completely. So you can still hunt for them, but it's definitely
Okay.
not as important as learning to crunch the numbers and figuring out your rehab costs and stuff like that.
Okay. So I think I'll just focus on getting that deal with the wholesaler, just doing that, and then maybe um, trying to find a realtor list. That's my next thing too, and trying to email blast them and follow up with them. Too.
Yeah. I mean, I for sure would try either text or call, one of those.
Okay.
And oh, so you're actually you want to go after like a list of realtors like that you can pull from and just cold call them or cold text
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
If you did something like that, probably would recommend a dialer.
Okay.
Um, or if you're cold calling, if you're, I don't know. You said email, so maybe texting is better. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I don't know because I just watched this video by Ray and he's like doing all these things, and I'm like, what do I do? I don't know. I don't know what would be the best strategy.
Okay, I mean it's up to you. I've heard people do different things. Most of my like, I'm more comfortable with the calling because I that's how I started my stuff, cold calling, and then I text if they didn't respond and stuff
Mm,
like that. But for the most part, where I was just calling people, homeowners, um, it's preference. So you could choose to text them, call them. I wouldn't email though as a first
okay.
option, unless you're emailing an offer for their listings and stuff like
Okay.
that.
So cold
Um,
calling or texting would be the best to do.
Probably, because then you can
Okay.
find like, for example, if you chose to cold call them, you can input that list of realtors and all their phone numbers into a dialer. You can click a button and it'll start automatically calling them. So that instead of you having to hand dial every single one, it just keep rolling. Same thing with texting. Like you could have automated messages and maybe like a 3 follow up message sequence to where like you would message someone and then depending on what they said, like you click a button and it sends a different message. So you could do something like that, but whatever you choose to do, you just have to do a lot of it. And I mean that like, um, a lot of people they can do all the right things, like all the right activities, but just not enough. For
Mm,
example, people will tell me like, "Oh, I've been cold calling." Well, how many are you cold calling? Homeowners. I'm like, "Oh, about 100 dials a day or 40 dials." I'm like, "It's gonna take a while. Like, if I dial 100 a day, I might contact one person." And they say, "Nope, don't want to sell." Like that's you hit to call 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Like it's a day.
yeah.
It's not just double, it's 100x or whatever it is. So what else are you thinking of in terms of things that you just need help with or ideas to bounce back with?
Let me see. I had a list of things,
Oh,
but then
cool.
I got like, just just crazy with my computer. All right. Let's see. I think it was just like, can I start making offers? What else? I think the other thing would be like wholesalers. Like, how do I market to them? Because it's completely different than marketing to like real estate agents and homeowners.
Yeah, it's a similar concept with realtors. It's building the relationship. So those I'd probably call. You reach out, or if you ever meet them in person, build that connection. Just let them know that you're a buyer. You can let them know what you're looking for. I guess your area, price point, all that stuff. Some of them won't even take that into account. Some of them will. It doesn't really matter. The thing that matters is like that they know you. Um, and the thing about wholesalers too is when they do send you a deal, maybe you're not that close yet, and they email blast a deal out, and you're one of the people that they blast it out to. To try to analyze a deal and make an offer on it fast.
Mm.
Be fast to respond, be fast to analyze, even if you're way off. So if their asking price is 200,000 and you're like, I can only do this for 130, still send it. So email back saying, hey, here's the best I can do. It really is. Here's what I'm projecting for my rehab. Here's what the ARV I think it is. Here's the profit I intend to make. I understand if it's way too low, but I just want to let you know I'm here. Because if you continually do that, you're starting to be in their eyes like reliable and trustworthy. Because when someone's wholesaling, I know the deals that I've wholesaled, if I was ever unsure, I was like, I don't know if this will sell. If someone responded to me right away, even if it was like off, I'd be like, oh, thank you so much. I'm glad there's actually like some interest in this because you're just not sure sometimes when you're
Mhm.
wholesaling. So that's a good way to build the relationships with them.
And is it good to negotiate with them too? Because someone sent me a spreadsheet and they had like the numbers, like asking price. Is it good to, I guess, yeah, right, like negotiate with them? Like, I can only do so much and see if they would lower it because I know they're trying to take their profit too.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's not
Okay.
like I don't even want you to think about it. It's not like even that much of a negotiation because they'll lock it up for a certain price. So let's say someone locked
Mm,
it up for 150,000, and they're trying to sell it for 200. And you're like, ah, I can only do 160. Like you didn't know about the 150, but
mm,
you only saw the 200 number. Like I really can only do 160. It really is my best. And you say, hey, like I don't even know if that would work or not. And you'll usually get some kind of response of like, yeah, like we actually got it too high. So, or
mm,
they'll say, actually, like, is it cool if I hold you as like a backup just in case it doesn't sell for what we want? Um, and that's kind of how it goes. And for the wholesalers, I usually try to put my best foot forward and not like I don't start super low because I get it. They're trying to sell it top dollar, and there's a bunch of other investors. And the biggest thing is just for you to get on their radar, like, oh, like they actually bought this one, and they
mm.
did what they said they were going to do. Um, that's how I approach wholesalers.
What is the process like once I like accept an offer from a wholesaler? And I guess I'm asking this because I'm still, like trying to figure out like the funding and stuff. Would I
Mhm.
have enough time like once I say I want an offer? Is it like right away or how long does it take?
So when a wholesaler sends you a deal and you're buying it,
Yes.
it all depends on their original contract. And I guess what the assignment contract says, because sometimes the closing dates are different. Maybe they want you to be able to close sooner than what the initial contract was, just in case
Okay.
you did back out and they needed to find someone else. That's common. But I think before signing an assignment contract with a wholesaler, like try to take at least take a look at the original agreement so that you can comfortably say, yeah, I'm comfortable taking over all these terms. Because they'll have
Okay.
their terms in there. They'll say, hey, you pay all the closing costs, you do these things, and you can look at the closing date and you're like, oh, like it closes in 2 days. I can't do that.
Mm,
Um, so that's the first thing is look at the initial contract and then ask them, hey, when's this set to close? When do you need this closed by? And if they say something outside of your ability, just let them like be honest. Like, hey, like I know you need this closed in 5 days, but I'm using hard money. Might take 14, 21. Like, what are we gonna do? Like, is this you think the seller would be open to extending or like, how can we do this? Or they'll say, hey, like I found a cash buyer. Something will happen. Um,
okay.
so it's just a matter of seeing the original contract, asking questions about their closing time, seeing what the situation was is with the earnest money deposit, and from there, you're good. It's just looking at the original contract. That's the big
Okay.
thing.
Okay. Look at the original contract. And then I don't need a realtor for that, right? When I'm getting something from a wholesaler.
No, no,
Okay.
unless they're um, actually even now, even if they lock it up on market, they probably locked it up with the help of a realtor, whether it was the listing agent that's representing both sides, and then let's say they got the listing agent to represent them and the seller, and now they're going to you, then
Mm,
essentially the listing agent will now be representing you because you're taking over the terms of the contract. That makes sense?
yeah, yeah, it makes sense. But I don't personally need it. Like that's
No.
that did
Yeah.
it. Okay. Okay, good. I think I got almost everything like that was I needed answered right now.
Sweet. No, that's awesome. I mean, is how are you feeling about everything? 'Cause how long have you been in the program so far?
Since August 22nd.
Okay, couple weeks.
Yeah, a couple of weeks. I'm feeling really good. So I knew a friend that started the Wealthy Investor program, and I actually found out because his son told me. He's like, I was like, "Hey, what does your mom do?" And he's like, "My mom flips houses." And I'm like, "What?" And I was like, "Okay, like it's just a kid, right? Like I don't know." So we met up and I asked her, I was like, "Hey, your son said you flip houses. Do you really?" And then she said, "Yeah." She showed me I think Ryan Panetta called her out in one of her deals because she made like 100 grand in her first deal. And she like showed him like, "Who's this Ryan guy?" And then that day I started like just watching all like the TikToks and stuff. But real estate had been something that my husband and I had been talking about, but I didn't know where to start. And where to go. And I just felt that once I learned about it, I'm like, okay, perfect. Like I have people that are going to help me through and someone who's going to, support me through all of this. So it was
Mhm.
definitely like, yes, I'm going to sign up for this.
I love it. I love it. Another thing too for you to think about in general is what is do you have an idea of where the San Antonio market is right now? Because sometimes the market shifts where it's a lot harder to flip in terms of like when you list a home for resale after fixing it up, it'll sit a lot longer than normal, or in combination, and people will pay a lot less for it. So if you thought it was going to sell for 500, it'll actually sell for 450, and it'll take 3 extra months. It's like, so do you know what kind of
I
market it's in?
don't. So
Okay.
I remember seeing like a video of someone saying to like look at the market every day. And it's just like, well, what am I looking at? Like I'm logging in and like all these houses pop up. Like what am I exactly analyzing?
Yeah, I mean, it's like inventory levels. You don't, I mean,
Mm,
you can, at first, you don't even have to do it yourself at first. You could just start talking, like, get feedback from your local community, the San Antonio investors, when you go to the meetups, like, get the general consensus from the people who are doing business and doing the flips, and just start asking people, like, hey, like, what are you seeing with, like, your flips? Are they taking longer to sell? Like, what kind of market do you think we're in? Because every market's a little bit different.
okay.
And let me tell you, the market makes a difference, like a massive difference. It's the ocean that carries or like drops everything.
Mhm.
So I say that because, for 3 years I was flipping like flipping well. And the last year, flips were kind of rough. They hurt. Like I took some losses, and these were all like textbook flips, the ones that I was like, oh, like neighborhood I would do, the price points I would do. And I was like, wow, like this is rough. Because what would happen was usually the rehabs were pretty good, my estimates, but it was in terms of the losses, it was because they sat longer on market and people were paying so much less.
Mm,
So it all happened in very quick time span. So when I listed something for, let's say, 300,000, um I would think, okay, like I think it might sell for a little bit less because I see the trend going down and I see things are starting to sit longer. It's like it'll probably sell for a little bit less, but let's shoot for this right now. And then every week or two we check the comps and we'd say, "Oh, like the other houses that sold now are going for 290 and then
mm.
280 and then like it would just keep dropping." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." And no one was buying. So it was really scary. And that's why I think it's really important for you to just get an idea of where your market is. Um, because I don't know where it's at.
Yeah, I think that'd be good too. And I've been like really trying to like grow the social media and I've been connecting with a lot of I don't say connecting because they're not like following me, but I follow them and I comment on their things, especially like flippers here in San Antonio.
Mhm.
And do you think it would be good to like message them even though I'm not like particularly meeting them, or is that like a I don't know. What do you think my best approach is to finding out like what kind of market it is we're in?
That's hard because usually if they're making the content like that, they're busier and it's
Mhm.
harder to respond. It's tough because it's like, well, first off, instead of that, you could do that. You might have some success with just people that have extra time and they're making an effort to actually meet new people. But for the ones that are not, it would be really helpful to go to like meetups.
Okay.
I'm sure you can find some. San Antonio is pretty big.
Yeah.
Do you know of any currently for real estate investing?
Yes. Yeah. So yesterday there was one, and we didn't end up going just because of scheduling, but there was two at the same time in different sides of town, and I was gonna try to make it in just, but I didn't. But I'm really like trying to find another one so I can go and just meet people too in my area.
Yeah, those are amazing
Okay.
because you're always going to be looking for something. You might be looking for people right now to help you with a rehab cost or just get an understanding of where the market is. That's right now, but later on you're like then you're going to be starting looking for money. You start telling people,
Mhm.
"Hey, I got these deals now. I'm looking for this or this kind of person, this contractor." So they're always really good and people are always usually willing to help too. Um,
Okay. Yeah. I'm
yeah,
gonna
those are
do that
big.
too.
You said you wanted to make content too, huh?
Yeah. I'm
What
trying
kind
to.
I think I saw your page. You started posting stuff, huh?
I did. I have like 40 posts
That's awesome. That's a
on
huge start.
Instagram. It is, yeah. So I started with like our business name, and then I was like, well, I don't think like this is. I would watch. I think I watched one of your videos where you said like, yeah, it's your brand, your brand. And I was like, all right, well, let's change it to like my husband and I's name. And then I was the only one posting. Like I'm the only one that's in there. And I was like, you know what? I don't remember somebody we watched another video. I watched all of them that they all become like jumbled in my head. But I remember watching one saying like, what hobbies you like and just creating your personal brand. And
Mhm.
I was like, I can't do this if my husband's like on it. So I had a conversation with him and I said, hey, like I think it'll be best if we like separate our accounts. Like I will build with my own brand and then you can do your brand if you want to pick up social media at some point. And he's like, yeah. So then I was like, all right, I'm going to target like females, Hispanic. I'm a first gen. So just kind of targeting that audience. And I've seen a little bit of growth. I mean, I don't have a lot of followers, but ever since I took my husband out and I really focus on like, just Latina, first gen women, I've seen like a little bit of engagement opposed to like none of engagement.
I love that. And that's gonna be a huge ROI in the end if you can stick to it. Like I promise you. It's and it could be discouraging sometimes too, because you'll see low view count and stuff like that. The thing that might help is if you get like 4 views, 10 views, 15 views, you might be discouraged. You know, the thing that helped me get through all of that, and sometimes I still get those, like we'll see really low views because the algorithms continually change and my content sometimes isn't as good. But the thing that helps is you got to tell yourself, okay, what if I was saying this and 20 people were listening to me in this room right now? They're
Mhm.
watching me say this out loud. Like that's a lot of people. You'd be
Right.
overwhelmed almost. So it's like it's a good thing is people will start watching and yeah, I think the thing about content is you don't have to portray yourself as this expert or anything. You just got to be you. And it's so real. Like you just got to talk about what you're doing, what you've done so that no one can question it. It's not really about the things you say, it's how you say it. So if you're talking about you should do this, you have to do this if you want to succeed, you have to do this if whatever. It's like no, people will not listen to you because people are really good at sniffing out
Mhm.
lies or deceit. So you can say stuff instead of like, here's what worked for me. Here's the things
Mhm.
that I'm doing, and here's how I achieve this. It's very different from me saying you need to eat oatmeal if you want a six
Mhm.
pack, versus me saying I eat oatmeal every single day for a year to get that. Like it's different. So what do you think you talk about, or what have you talked about?
Well, at first I was doing like at the beginning I was doing like morning coffee chats where I would like make my coffee and just talk about like what's been going on, like the LLC, just going through that process. And then lately I've just been talking about once I decided that I'm gonna like go into like Latinas, first gen, stuff like that. I've been talking about like gender roles and
Mm,
mostly because I'm like, okay, like I'm trying to start a business and I need my husband to help me because I'm trying to do this, right? And that's when it's like as a first gen, we're used to seeing so many like women do everything in the house. Like if I did everything in the household, I wouldn't have time to do my business. I wouldn't have time to make calls, sit right here with you and do this, right?
Mhm.
So it's like being able to break those cycles as a first gen and realizing that no, like my husband can cook and he's cooking right now. Once I'm done with this call, like I go down there and I'm eating, but I already accomplished something, right? It's like a partnership.
Mhm.
So that's where I'm getting at because right now we're having content, like house flipping content, right? So it's I'm talking about like, okay, how do I start up a business being a woman in a Hispanic household?
Yeah.
So,
I think, you know, I think the easiest way to create content without taking you away from actually getting the work done that you know you need to get done is to just document your stuff. So this is actually something I started doing even more so. And I used to do it before, but actually the equipment made a big difference of being able to
mm,
like, because like this conversation right now, this will be chopped up into clips. And so it's not even gonna be like I used to have a big editing team, but I was spending thousands a month and it was really hard when I lost all that money and I was like, I gotta cut down. And so I had to cut down. I started using AI a lot more. So AI is actually the thing that chops up all my clips. So you'll see stuff soon. You probably already have. I think I've seen
mhm,
you. Um, and I just document everything. So if I'm making calls, I just have my camera recording and then I'm bound to say something. And if I do, the AI will pick it up and it'll,
mm,
oh, hey, this is a good clip or this is a good starting point. This is recorded cold calls, warm calls, sales calls. They're all recorded now. And I saw this a lot with like Bradley, Gary V. Like this is how they pull so much content. It's because they're not making it; they're
mm.
doing it. So that could be a good starting point too if you're making all these calls or whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I actually tried to do that today when I was on the phone with Kiavi, and I was like, "Oh, I should need to record this." And I was like trying to find a different phone and like trying to just record it. And then like once I hit record, we were like at the end of our conversations, like,
Yeah.
"Dang it! Okay, oh well, now I need to like remember when I'm just trying to do something, just hit record and stuff." I've also been like cross posting everything to TikTok,
Hmm.
which for some reason TikTok I get more views. It's
Hmm.
less engaging, but I just get the views. I'm like, I'm gonna try and redirect them to Instagram. Um, but then I got like shadow banned on TikTok because I was
Yeah.
using some of the music from IG, or I think that's what it was because I didn't do anything else that might have shadow banned me.
Were you getting like zero views or like what was happening?
Yeah, like I posted a video and it got 0 views, and I was like, what happened? And I like
Yeah.
deleted it, posted it again, zero. And I was like, okay, like I don't get a lot of views, but I get more than zero.
Yeah, that still happens to me, and on Instagram mainly is when it happens. And so
Mm,
not usually when I share to feed, it'll all my people will see it, the followers. But if I share off to feed, sometimes it'll get zero. I'm like, oh, what did I do? So and it's weird. You just gotta keep
yeah.
pushing through. Sometimes I've taken breaks, like a
Mhm,
week, two break, a week or two, a break from it, so that we see if it makes a difference. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It's
mm.
just pushing through. Like that's all it is.
Okay. So I took down everything that I had from TikTok that because I was using like my content from Instagram, downloading it and then putting it on TikTok. But sometimes I want to say it was in music because I was grabbing like music from Instagram. So then I deleted like those videos on TikTok, and then I got back like in like 3 days, I think, because I would post every day, and I'm like, am I still shadow banned? Am I still shadow banned?
Yeah.
And then finally one would went through, and I was like, okay, I'm not shadow banned.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for you because if you've started the content, just don't stop. Like, just don't stop. And the thing is, too, is like make it as easy as possible for you. Like, as
Mhm,
easy where, because the easier it is, even if it's not your best quality, like, we won't know what quality is until you do a lot of it. Like, quantity becomes quality over time. So, if you, if it's like starts to become like, oh, this is so much work, this is too hard, and it's distracting me from my real estate, it's not worth it unless
mhm,
you're finding a different way to do it. Um, what I mean by that is like when I started, I would individually make TikToks. So like me in front of the camera or my phone, like vertical,
mhm.
and I'd just talk to the camera, TikToks, and I'd make 6 every single day. I did that for like a year. And then it was great at first. I was like, this is awesome. I'm growing so fast. I actually wish I posted so much more before because the algorithm changed a lot on Instagram to become like
Mm,
TikTok. And before I was able to, it was just a different algorithm that benefited me a lot better. Now, And during at the end of that, when I was like, man, I was getting burnt out, and I see this with a lot of people too. Like even the big ones, will talk and like, yeah, I'm tired of like filming individual TikToks. So if you could find any way of making long form content and transforming it into short form, it'd be great. And people, once they watch your long form, they'll start to get to know you so much better. Um, I can promise that's true. Have you seen any of my long form videos outside of coaching?
No, I just
Okay.
watch your coaching videos.
No, you're good. You're good. But it makes a difference because I know a lot of the people that want to do business with me, some way, shape, or form. A lot of them have just seen the YouTubes and like, hey, I've been watching you for a year,
Mm.
2 years, and like when they say that, I'm like, dang, you've been with me for a while. Like you know me because I've shared
Hmm.
everything. So I think that's a good way to start.
Yeah, I did realize that I was trying to like make all these content, like the carousels and like all these fancy like posts, and that was taking a long time. And I was like, I can't do that. Like, and then yeah, I was trying to do long form and then cutting it, but then I didn't want to sit in front of the camera either.
Hmm.
So I do like I have like a tripod and I'll just like record myself because I usually on the computer a lot, and then I'll just like do 6 minutes. I think right now I'm just trying to like get out there, like expose myself, and then I guess once I have like a lot more content, like just want to get a house. Like I'm like I keep telling myself I want to get a house. I want to create content with the house, but I know that there's like these gaps I need to fill.
Yeah, if that's the case, like once you start your marketing, I never want your content or anything else to like take over your time so much where you're not able to dedicate enough. Like, is this wait? What's your full time job?
Oh, I'm a social worker.
So you're working 40 hours?
Yeah.
Okay. So if that's the case, your time is limited. Do you have
Hmm.
kids?
I have 3 kids. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah, time time becomes a lot more limited. And let's talk about your strategy then. If you're wanting to attack the realtors
Hmm.
and your time is limited where you work all day and you have kids, what would you do and when would you do it, do you think? And
Well, I think that's why I had thought about doing emails, but then after talking
yeah.
to you, I was like, well, maybe emails is not going to be like the best thing for me. So I want to say like, so I work from home. So I think that gives me a little bit of flexibility. My kids go to school and daycare all day, and somewhat my job is kind of flexible. There's some weeks that are super busy, but there's some days that are not, and I can just take time. I just want to say, like, I could do some calling, but it wouldn't be like
Yeah.
excessive calling. And I could do some texting, but I mean, probably that's easier, but I don't feel like I would get a lot more
Yeah.
leads from that.
And the thing about texting, you actually have to be available a lot because of all the responses. I was talking
Hmm.
to a buddy, he was like, I got like 700 responses I gotta make right now. And it's like,
Wow.
so like, it's a lot. You can get a lot done, I promise you, with the cold calling if you had the dialer
Okay.
and you're actually calling the list. Like for example, for me with my dialer, it's a triple line, so it's able to call three
Yeah.
people at once. I actually can bump it up, right? I keep it at triple so I don't miss too many calls. Um, in about an hour, I can call about 600 people dials.
Hmm.
So with Realtor List, I don't even know if you'd use a triple line because I think a lot of them actually do answer the phone. So you just miss a lot of calls. So you might use a single or a double line.
Hmm.
So you'd be able to call like a lot of people versus if you're hand dialing, it makes
Okay.
it different.
So I
How
could still get a dialer even with like one line. I didn't know that. I thought I had to have like
hmm
multiple lines to do that.
hmm
Okay.
how how many hours a day you think you'd be able to dedicate to this? Your marketing.
I want to say 2 to 3 hours. I don't think I
Okay.
would be able to do more than three.
Okay.
And that's already just probably like taking some time off my lunch.
Yeah.
Maybe I do multitask. Most of my job is computer, so I can like have to call somebody, and then while I'm just working on the computer, I do that a lot, and that's what I've been trying to do a lot lately. I don't know how much I need. If like is 2 to 3 hours enough, or do I need more?
It can be enough. It can be
It's better
for
than
sure.
zero.
Yes. Yeah. It like for example, if I'm using my triple line dialer
Okay.
and I am calling for if I do call for 3 hours a day, that's 1,800 people. Now, when we were doing this when I had more virtual assistants and cold callers, they'd each call 1,800 people a day, and from that they would pull about one, maybe two leads from it.
Mm,
So if you call 3 hours a day, one, two leads a day, that starts to add up, and then it becomes a lot of the follow up, and that's like that makes a difference.
okay.
That's really like all you need. Um, so yeah, you can crush it, or if you really wanted, you could hire a VA to make the calls or text or whatever, and then you start handling it once you get somewhat leads. But it's kind of hard to guide until you've done it somewhat. At least are
Okay.
confident enough to teach someone.
Even if it's with realtors, like get a VA.
You could,
Yeah.
you could. I mean, a lot of them have accents, and you don't want to get those. You want to get the ones who can speak pretty fluent English, and so they won't know if they're from the Philippines or wherever. But yeah, they can speak. It's just a matter of finding the right ones.
Okay. Got it.
How are you feeling?
I feel good.
Feel more confident, hopefully.
I do. I do feel more confident. Like even after today, I was like, okay, like I feel that I can do this. I think my biggest thing would be like the marketing. And I'm just gonna hit up Brian tomorrow. That's the wholesaler's name. Start there. I know I was gonna ask him for a list too. He's like, if you need a list of wholesalers, let me know. I know
Oh,
some.
good.
So I'm gonna hit that, and then I guess after that, like figure out this whole like marketing to realtors strategy that I want to do
Yeah.
too.
And then
Yeah,
yeah, you can reach out to both realtors and the wholesalers because that's the wholesalers are the difference makers too. Like they're consistently looking for deals
yeah.
specifically. Realtors are just looking for listings.
Mm,
Um, so it'd be good. It could be really beneficial to you for you to do both.
okay,
Actually,
do both at the same time. Okay, I'll work on those.
yeah, it's but they all add up as long as you're consistent and you stick with it. Like I said, you can crush with 3 hours a day. Where would that be? Would that be like partial morning, partial midday, partial after?
It would. I think it would be before my kids get home. So that's
Okay.
the other thing I like about my job. That if I don't finish like a report during the working hours, I can work on the report at night or whenever. You know, as long as I get my job done, that's fine. Because I'm not. I don't think I'm going to be calling realtors at night.
Yeah. I mean, technically, you're able to call till 9 p.m. their time. So
Okay,
you can, but
but I don't want to.
yeah. Yeah, no, I gotcha. Because for me, it's kind of like a mix.
Okay.
The earliest I am legally able to call is 8 a.m. their
Mm,
time. So, um, I'm working early, not non real estate stuff like my social media early in the morning, like 5 to 8, and then once it's 8 o'clock, I'll call for like an hour until I have like team meeting and stuff like that. And then once team meeting's over and other things, 10, I'm calling again for like another 4 hours. And after that, usually I have like coaching calls, accountability calls, stuff like that. And then if yeah, for the most part, I'll call like another hour later at like 6 after my
mm.
small workout because I'll try to work out and get steps throughout the day.
Okay. So I think I would want to structure my day where I have like on this time I'm calling and this time I'm calling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Uh
maybe
oh.
I'll do that.
Well, can you hear me still?
I can hear you.
Oh. Oh. The camera froze. Okay, I'm here. That was weird. I don't know what happened. But yeah, no, I think you're good to go. I think you're ready to crush. It's just doing it. And when you start marketing, you're gonna have this like urge to do whatever it takes to avoid it. Like I promise you.
Okay. I think that's
And
where I'm at.
yeah, you're gonna be. It's gonna say, "Hey, I'm gonna cold call at 6 p.m." Like you're gonna tell yourself that at 6 p.m.
Mm,
5:59 approaches, like, oh, like maybe I gotta make this post on social. It's like no, you you
mm,
sit down and you like make one. You don't have to make all the calls, but if you make one call at the time you're supposed to be making, like it'll just snowball. I promise you. Like that's how you get over it because then you start to become the person that does the things that you say you're gonna do, and that's where the confidence
mm.
comes.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. It's not in your head. It's like people are like, "No, you have to think of yourself a certain way." It's like, "No, you just have to do."
You just have to do it.
And then you think of
Yeah.
yourself better.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. I need to find that realtor list. I think that's like my other thing. Like, find that list, figure out where I'm gonna get it from, and then just like start calling. Like, even though I don't feel like I'm 100%, but just like start building that relationship and just calling people. Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Let's go. I love it. Well, I'm happy that I actually got to meet you and like go one on one. And
Yeah.
um, welcome to the program, by the way.
No, thank you. My husband and I love you.
Oh,
Because when we started, we had a lot of questions, and just the way that you are and all the calls. I was literally talking to my husband. I was like, you know what? You know what Justin does, and you know what I do now. It's like, did you get that? Did you understand that? Do I need to explain that to you again? And me and my when I'm like as a social worker, when I talk to clients, I'll be like, did you get that? Did you need me to say
I
that
love
again?
that.
And I was like, I got that from Justin.
It's funny. I think it came from like me talking a lot to a camera, and there was no one here. I did that for years, and I was like, I'm talking to no one. And then as soon as I started talking like in meetings to people, real people, and
Yeah,
it wasn't just a camera, I was like, oh, like I actually got to check understanding
yeah,
because I could never check it with the camera.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, I just because there's no point in me saying something if it just goes past your ears.
Yeah, no, and I was like, like he makes sure that you understand and everything. I just can never make your calls, but um, I'm glad I was able to meet you.
Yeah, absolutely. Same here. And if you ever need anything, just let me know. You just contact me, and we can set another one of these up if you ever need.
Of
But you also
course.
have a lot of support with your success manager and stuff like that.
I did and have the best experience with my first one. I think that's what kind of like crushed me. And I just felt like I couldn't go back. But I'm gonna try like a different success manager and do that. But thank you for your help. I really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully next time we talk, you're on and you're crushing it with your calling or texting, whatever it is you're doing. And good luck. Like, don't
Thank
be afraid
you.
to just go all in. And
Okay.
anytime you think I'm not doing enough, like you probably aren't. Like that's what you have to have in the back of your head.
Mm, okay. Good to know. Thank you. I'm going to take all of this in and crush it. I appreciate it.
Awesome, awesome. And also, is it cool if I do get clips from this? Is it cool if I add you as a collaborator so like it shows up on your feed? It's like free
Yeah.
content for you,
Yep.
and
That's
maybe get
fine.
followers.
Hopefully. I love that. Thank you so much.
Sure. All right. I'll
All
see you.
right. Bye.